Play Billy Joel Radio. All right. Good morning. Good morning. It is 6:31. It is April 17th. It is hump day. Good morning. Take a look at disclosure. Let's get to it. My name is Scott Redler. I'm the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Welcome to today's 6:30 Club, where we try and go over what's happening in the market, what the buzzwords are, where we can make some cash. And at this point, we've had about a 3.8% correction from the highs to where we were yesterday. You had a few little signals, that were oversold enough for some type of bounce. You had a little red dog reversal in the SPYs and the Qs, and some things acted okay, but nothing was so special. Kind of one of those spots where you needed to cover shorts, but not really, get too deep into a lot of positions, because we might have some type of bounce, which we're starting up 24 handles this morning, but chances are, we're not going. I don't think we're just going to take off. So you just want to still be tactical, in my opinion. Anyway, let me say hello to some of my dogs around the world real quickly. Got Bill Myers in the house, AC 2000. We got Jose, still from Caracas. It says time to make the donuts, and here we are. So take a quick look here at the chart of the SPYs. A move from 524, which was the high, all the way down to 502. A little bit in the gap, and then we played with this 503.59, which not the strongest red dog reversal. If we would have had a little bit of a better close, I guess maybe some people would have a little bit more risk on. But from 515, where they sold the strength on Monday, to yesterday's low, pretty big range. So it made some sense to cover some shorts. I had some Q short on yesterday. I covered, traded a bunch of different things. Yesterday SMCI and Nvidia was strong, so I have some Nvidia overnight. Not, it's not up so much. It's actually decent. But anyway, so the question is, where can we go? What kind of oversold bounds can we have? What's a level to maybe play things to? Right now we're at 505.87, which is not even yesterday's high. I would say like this 507 to 509 would be, a spot that if the market wants to burn off the oversold condition, that's where we can go. And if they wanted to push the envelope on some of the bears who, fade this little area, I would think if the bears want to have some real, have to want to sell some strength, chances are this 511.50-ish to maybe even 512, where we broke down from, doesn't get taken out. So you have like resistance 1, resistance 2, based on, the type of bounce we have. And we'll see today if the early strength holds or not. You're talking, up 230. We're not even at this area. But we'll say there's a 50-day. Sometimes you break through a 50-day, you come back and retest it to see what kind of sellers you have there. So there's some room. If you're not long overnight, it's going to be hard. And it was not the easiest trade to be long overnight. And here's the Qs. The Qs also, had a pretty big break. You could have sold the 441, 442 area on Monday when there was, based on the response from Iran, that was pretty much, just hey, let me send you a few $1 billion worth of missiles to save face, and then Israel says, hey, let me knock them down, and then hey, U.S., could you fund the whole thing on both sides? Obama, Biden send us billions throughout the millions of the night, and U.S. sends Israel for the Iron Dome, and we get all taxed 50% on our income. I'm trying to can't be a little cynical like that, right? But anyway, so here's the Qs. Let's get the Qs. The Qs right now are up $1.40, not quite as much as the SPYs. You have 433.74. That's yesterday's high. So 433, so 432.50. So you're still $1.25 away from yesterday's highs. So if they want to test yesterday's highs, there's a little bit of room. But then look at all these moving averages curling down. We're no longer, trending. Like if you look at the weekly on the, we're no longer trending above this 8-day moving average, in the Qs, which was a really strong trend, starting from November 6th. Now we're more kind of vulnerable where this upper area broke. This is now 429.70. And now we probably have a little bit of back and forth. And it wouldn't be the worst thing if we continue to the downside and maybe continue towards 421, 422. But we might test this 437 first. So or not. So you just don't. Again, they don't make it that easy on both sides. They just don't. As much as everyone thinks, and you listen to people on TV, how much money they're making, or everyone who plays traders on Twitter, it's not the easiest thing. Even if you have risk down, trying levels, it's not the easiest thing to navigate at times. But anyway, so this upper wedge broke. Does it take back a portion of this candle in the next few days? Hard to tell, but you do have this 437-ish area that you probably want to make sure you're not buying. That could be a reduce back into if we're going to continue lower, but we'll see. All in all, very, very smart thing to do, I think, is low gross, low net. Mega cap tech, it's like nothing's really paying you to sit right now in there. So let's take a quick look. Like Microsoft, look at that candle. Yesterday, remember we talked about kind of come back and retest an area. Well, it went to here. This high is 418.40. So, a lot of these things that broke down a bit that are a little choppier. Now the question is, it's like the whole market is like a blah. Can we retest this area? Can you short this area? Probably. That would be, a big portion of this candle to test, but it's not like you want to just sit in there and be in harm's way. Same thing with Meta. Meta, kind of broke below this little wedge formation. What did it do yesterday? Not a whole lot. Came back up and retested this spot. So it's just, different type of trade. Broke below this upper wedge. So now kind of come back to here and just pack and fill and maybe rebuild in some portion. Yeah. But again, if you're an active trader trying to get paid in April, you don't need to be in a rush right now. Now look at Apple. Apple, what a pain in the ass. Excuse my French, but like, holy cow. Apple has just turned into an untradeable mess. They squeezed the cajones out of some shorts when it didn't break this 167, 168. Gave you a little follow through on Friday. Friday was a good trade. Last Thursday I had this. It opened down. And then remember, I'm like, you guys should be selling the 178, 180 area. And then I'm like, if it's going to be any good, it's got to hold 172.50. Yesterday, you had a quick trade to go from down 40 cents through 172.50 if you were trading Apple, and then it just rolled over. So I don't know what this is saying, but on the weekly chart, it's not looking so hot. And then when you get a green, engulfing candle like that sucks money in, and then all of a sudden it gets negated so fast, there's some trapped buyers here. So if it happens to break, this can go from being just like a channel out of play to a bit of a headwind. So I would just be a bit more careful here with Apple. At some point, does it take out 198, 199? I think so. If you're an investor in Apple the last multiple years, the last decade, you're laughing. This means nothing to you. And chances are at some point, I would think in the next 3, 6, 9 months, it gets better. They still make the most money of any company in the world. They're just going through a little bit of work the PE down, a little bit of a bad narrative news cycle. I personally think they should make, you see how you have the phone. Oh, look at that Red Dog and Cadence. I've seen the Samsung Flip, which is pretty damn cool. You could open it up. They don't show the seam. You can look at your emails better. You could actually watch TV in bed. I'm always watching TV in bed. I have a damn 60-inch screen TV in all my rooms. I'm sitting there watching Warrior in my bed. By the way, Warrior is a great show. If you need a show, Warrior, there's 3 seasons. It's about San Francisco back in the day when the Chinese came and established Chinatown. You have the Irish, the police. Really good show. But I'm just saying, the same phone, 17 versions of the same phone is kind of boring. Apple, boring. But anyway, so at some point, maybe they'll change it up a little bit. You can't just change how to put the adapter in. So if there's more accessories for extra cash flow, and they got to do something with AI. But anyway, this is a pretty big level here. Apple and Tesla also have just been off the list. They went from the Mag 7 to like, there's really nothing so great in mega cap land except for they're all rebuilding. Tesla, a lot of people made good money short through this 160.50, and now you have a little bit of a green bottom tail. So what does that mean? It just means that, hey, maybe it wants to fill this gap, but ultimately this is still broken. This is still something that we've been staying away from. I'm pretty proud of that. Like a lot of people like Red Dog used to be the Apple trader, then the Tesla trader, now you're the Nvidia trader. I'm like, well, I like to trade stocks that you could buy in a base, add through a chart pattern and sell into strength and then buy it back and then make higher highs and higher lows. Tesla's been making lower highs and lower lows. So to me, that's not my real style. So what today? I don't know what's Tesla doing this morning. I saw two different downgrades, but it's up $1.80, kind of filling this gap of 158. So if you listen, if you went out short, if you at 167.50, if you flipped from long to short, and then you covered yesterday, and like, hey, look at this bottom tail. This is a bottom tail. You know, you made some money tactically, and at this point, you know, you probably fill this gap, and maybe even here's your 8-day, go a little bit more, but make sure you know that this is a broken stock. Take your trades. Things change. So as we talk about Nvidia, I am long Nvidia overnight. To me, this still seems like one of the better stocks in the market. It's still, you know, trying to, you know, show relative strength. Last week we had a really good 2-day trade, if you remember, and then it was kind of cute, not cute. It was a little actually predatory on Monday. You know, looked like the strongest stock, and then they sold it down with the market, and now it's still building. This yesterday's high is what, 881. So 881 is some resistance. If you can get above 881, you know, and maybe it starts, you know, getting a little bit of a better trend. Like you can say, okay, if you look in Nvidia, you know, you had the 974 high, 967 descending little channel, broke above it. Now you have a higher low. To me, it's, you know, if the market's going to get any better, you'll probably see Nvidia break above this 881. You know, so you have another like little mini channel here, and go to the upside. If the market's going to get better, we need some leaders, and Nvidia is the leader. So we shall see. There was a little news out there about ASML falling, but not the same business. So otherwise, you know, Nvidia would probably be up 10 this morning. So 881 is the spot to get above. SMCI had a big day yesterday. You know, SMCI also, you know, was a leader, you know, and everyone was talking about this head and shoulders top pattern, and then basically they didn't happen. They squeezed some shorts, they blew it out. So at this point, you know, you have this descending channel here, and it'd be nice to see if a stock could actually, you know, make some higher highs. So with that being said, SMCI is what this morning? It's only up 8 and change, but it's a little follow through with yesterday's high, 981. So a lot of chatter on Twitter about this yesterday. It was really strong yesterday. There was a 1,500 price target on it also. So with that being said, you know, your next real level here is what? This is 1,042-ish. So we'll see if it continues. Overall, though, you know, stock still, I think, in the infancy of its rally over the next, you know, whatever. Thoughts on USO? I think, you know, without a major retaliation from Israel or Iran, I think oil probably peaked a little bit. You saw the XLE, you know, do a red dog reversal up here. I remember that red dog reversal, you know, loose and wide day got most people out. You know, I've been, you know, this is when most of my community got in the XLE right around 85-ish, and was above the 8-day the entire time. And this candle is your candle to say, hey, you know, it might be done for a while. So at this point, though, if you sold it when it did a red dog reversal here, you know, now it's coming back to retest this 93 area. So not a bad spot probably to get involved. XLE, you know, down to nickel 94 and change. So what's the low here? This low is 93.73. I would say that's probably a better spot to be a buyer than a seller, especially if you sold strength. So again, you know, that's what traders do. You navigate ranges and look at the size of this move. So coming back and retesting the prior area isn't the end of the world. And if they want to shake the tree, you know, then this would be a better zone to buy. Some people like, you know, what do I think about gold? Well, you know, gold gave you that topping tail, you know, create a little volatility. If you remember on Friday, we did call a little bit of a short-term top, but, you know, if you did get out into strength, you know, you weren't as worried on Monday when it did the red dog reversal or came in, stopped some guys out at 216. And now, you know, I don't think it runs away, to be honest, but it's definitely still strong. This was your better spot to get involved. As far as silver, I didn't get back in yet. You know, everyone's like, why did you sell your SLV options, the rest of them? I'm like, well, it kind of hit my measured move on the weekly chart. You know, it hit this 27 area, but now, you know, if it rebuilds here, let some of the moving averages catch up, I might go out and buy some, you know, some $27 calls for SLV out a month or so, or maybe 2 months, depending. It was really good. This is one of my biggest trades of the last month, was buying the 23s, 24s, and 25s right around here in silver. you know, and I haven't traded silver since, 2020. So the beauty of a trader is that you could go and find the sectors when the sector's set up, and that's our job, is find the sectors when the sector's set up, and then make sure to use a tier system and manage a trade and create cash flow. But for now, a little bit of inside action, and then I would think maybe that gets taken out. Bitcoin, I just lost a lot of money in Bitcoin. Not a lot, but Bitcoin looked like it had a bull flag and then it was going to break out above 71 to 73,000. Guess what? It didn't happen. So my Bitcoin options, a bunch of them, went worthless, and I still have some for May 3rd. Doesn't mean Bitcoin is over. It just means that it didn't happen at the time frame that I want it to happen on. It happens. Everyone else will talk about the gazillions they just made in Bitcoin. I didn't. Here's the weekly chart. It's still fine. If you think about the size of the move that Bitcoin had, it's still holding up. You could even move this up. It's just creating more of a channel to consolidate this massive move than not. You could see it a little bit easier on the daily charts. On the daily chart, it kind of looked like it was ready to go. Kind of looked like it was going to take out to 71 to 72, and that happened. So that said, hey, nope, we have to set up a channel and take our time, and at some point this channel goes sideways for long enough, maybe it then has another move. When I started this year, I said Bitcoin can go to 100,000, but I said by 2025, and then everyone was yelling at me that I was too conservative up here. And then right here looked like a flag also, broke down. Then it looked like a rebuilt and broke down, and now better hold the 60,000, otherwise it's going lower. I'm going to, best thing for guys in Bitcoin, I think, is like an asset allocator. If you have a pie chart, put 10% in Bitcoin every single month, and chances are you'll do a lot better than trying to time these moves. And if you do trade for a living, some people trade crypto for a living, which is cool. You better make sure that, you're using your moving average momentum rules, because if you get paid monthly, chances are if you were long out the yin yang here and you didn't use this as a stop, chances are it just hurt your quarter a little bit. So now you got to see, does this double bottom at 60? Does 60 hold? If this doesn't, this could be a bearish flag, and then Bitcoin could wind up breaking below this, and then who knows? It could definitely retrace a little bit lower. But at this point, I just trade Bitcoin here and there. It's not my bread and butter. My bread and butter is mega cap tech, AI semis, the SPYs, the Qs, the small caps. Some one-offs, this and that. URA hurt also. So you want to talk about my dead squirrel from when I was a teenager? Yeah, this kind of hurt too. So this trade that I had a concept on that perhaps was going to get ready to go up didn't happen. So what happens? You take a little loss, you move on, and that's why you get your brain right. So then the next time you get good setups, you're not worried about the last one that didn't work. You go with the one that works, in front of you. So with that said, guys, it's 6:49. I would think that the SPYs, could be a little bit bouncier than yesterday. Yesterday, I did make some decent money playing the red dog reversal, but kind of didn't give you such a green light. Not that the market ever gives you a green light to be like, risk on. I'm kind of hoping that within the next week or so, we get a move down to this 492-ish area, which I don't know if it happens, if we fill this gap. And then we are all 6% off the highs, and then I could put one tier of my wife's blood in the street account to work. Maybe I could start getting some swings better, because right now, I'm very tactical, and that just means risk down, means I'm trying to take trades and, expect a little less. And when you get some good trades, don't overdo it. All right, guys, I appreciate you. I got to jump.